succeed in stealing 26 million cedis in 2022, representing a significant 103% increase from 12 million cedis in 2021. This and more coming up shortly. Good evening and welcome to Business Brief here on TV3. My name is Michael Obudu. Let's chart summaries of some other business stories making the headlines today.
Banks whose capital had been affected by the domestic debt exchange program have complied with the directive to submit their recapitalization plans ahead of the September deadline. The central bank at the last Monetary Policy Committee meeting directed all commercial banks to submit their recapitalization plans by September 2023. The Bank of Ghana has restored the forex licenses of Fidelity Bank and First National Bank. The central bank temporarily suspended the two financial institutions for breaching some sections of the Ghana Interbank Forex Market Conduct Rules. More than a month after Nigeria's central bank dropped the Naira's peg against the dollar, the country's market for exchange-traded futures has ground to a standstill. The wide fluctuations in the local currency are deterring traders. The Naira has traded between 742 and 804 per dollar since June 15, the day after the Central Bank of Nigeria said it would allow the currency trade freely in the so-called investors and exporters window.
Thank you for staying with us. Let's go straight into our first story, as the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, is to help combat mobile money fraud in the country. More than 26 million Ghana cedis were lost to mobile money fraud alone in 2022, according to the recent Bank of Ghana report on occurrences in the banking sector.
We are also saddled with the issues around fraud, which has permeated some of the activities around the service. And we intend to use this opportunity or collaboration to actually work hard to combat the increased rate of such incidents. If I refer you to Bank of Ghana's recent reports on fraud in the industry, even though we saw a very slight increase in the number of incidents that were reported between 2022 and 2021, the value of what has been lost through mobile money has increased quite significantly. The report suggests around 26 million Ghana cedi was lost through the EMIs in 2022. This is around 103 percentage points growth in financial crime. So it's telling us that there is some value that our valued customers are losing from these organized crime. And it is our responsibility collectively to work with all law enforcement agencies within the ambit of the law to ensure that these perpetrators are brought to book.
Let's bring you more perspectives on this particular issue, as the data that we have access to show that for 2022, the total amount of money lost to mobile money fraud stood at 26 million, which is more than double what was recorded in the previous year, 2021, which stood at 12 million. Now, interestingly, the total number of cases, fraud cases recorded in 2022 was actually a decline from the previous year, which stood at 12,350 cases. It dropped down to 12,166. However, from what we can see here, the volume that was recorded was much higher, even though the fraud cases declined. Obviously, that means that the amount of monies that were lost in the period increased. That's the amount of monies that these mobile money fraudsters were able to get as a result of their fraudulent activities shot up. Now, the Director of Business Operations at Dalex Finance has expressed worry over the delay by Cocoa Board in securing the pre-export cocoa syndicated loan. Joe Jackson observed the losses in the cocoa sector coupled with restructuring of the cocoa bills may send wrong signals to investors.
We have mismanaged the cocoa sector, even by their own published accounts for 2018, 19, and 2020, which is the last time they published account, the cocoa sector is making losses. Huge losses that rise each year. We've seen how inefficient the cocoa sector is. They are, in 1 year alone, 2019-2020, they employed over 2,300 new people, adding a huge amount to the wage bill. Cocoa board is overstaffed and is dabbling in all sorts of things that are not directly related to cocoa. Rural roads, fertilizer, and so many things that don't help the cocoa itself. Last year by this time, we had announced the financing that we were going to use for the cocoa season 2022-23. This year, September, nada has been announced yet. In fact, what is being announced is a haircut for those with cocoa bills. A haircut, cocoa bills that were supposed to be for 6 months have now been stretched for another 5 years into 2028. Cocoa bills that were supposed to be at a coupon rate of 31% have now dropped to as low as 13%.
Now, the Chief Executive Officer of the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, Seth Chuma Kwabwa, has advised companies to pay attention to sustainability and not solely profit if they want to stay in business. He made the remarks at the National CSR Sustainability Conference in Accra. It was on the theme, Shaping the Future of Business Sustainability Post-COVID-19.
Your profit is only sustainable when you work well with your workers, your environment, your community and everything. If you make profit today, it does not guarantee you profit tomorrow. And for every business, what you want to do is to be able to sustain the profit. You may make a small margin today, but if you sustain over a long time, it will accumulate with very heavy profit for you. So businesses understand this principle, that the profit you make is not only for today, it's also for tomorrow and the next day and in the years ahead. So therefore, you must operate in a responsible manner that guarantees success, that guarantees sustainability.
Now, the Coffee Federation of Ghana says the country stands to benefit from a lot of foreign exchange if it gives the crop the needed attention. According to President of the association, Dr. Nathaniel Nsako, Ghana has over the years lost out in the multi-billion-dollar industry, and now is the time to review policies to its advantage. He was speaking to the media on the sidelines of the launch of a baseline study on coffee production in Ghana.
As a country, like I indicated, we've been sleeping, because when you look at what coffee contributes globally, it's a foreign earner that contributes about 126 billion USD. When you compare to cocoa gives you just around 47 billion annually. So compare the two. Which one gives you value? When you compare the two, you see that cocoa doesn't come anywhere near coffee when it comes to foreign exchange. And yet, as a country, we have the arable land, we have the youth, we have everything that can help us to get coffee, to the extent that even the lands that have been degraded and destroyed by the illegal mining can be reclaimed to produce coffee. The Robusta coffee can do well on those lands. Other crops wouldn't do well, but the Robusta coffee can do well and help us to even revive and rehabilitate such lands. And then it will end up giving us foreign exchange. And yet, as a country, we don't get our politicians thinking like this.
Let's now go to the international market and find out how major commodities are faring. The price of cocoa is up by 1.25%. It's selling at $3,469 per ton. The price of gold is up by 0.52%, trading at about $1,964 per ounce. The price of crude oil is up by about 1%, trading at $83.59. Now, from the commodities market, let's turn our attention now to the currency market and find out how major currencies are faring. Well, that will be all for today's edition of Business Brief. For more business stories, please visit our website, 3news.com. My name is Michael Obodu. Thank you for watching. As always, please stay safe.